Hey everyone, RogueGold here. Today we actually have a really awesome devlog do-over. This one is by far the best one that they've done yet. So, I'm going to go over all 5 of the skills they previewed today and read the descriptions for the respective mods that the devs wrote before giving my quick thoughts on each one and at the end giving an overview of each skill. Let's hop right into it. Alright, so first off we have the Chem Launcher. Now, from the E3 demo, I thought that the Chem Launcher was one of the coolest new skills that they introduced, so I'm pretty excited to read through these mods. So, the overview that they give for the Chem Launcher is, as a grenade launcher inspired weapon, the Chem Launcher fires various ampules of chemicals in an arc that disperses into a cloud on impact and linger to cause unique and devastating effects. When you have the Chem Launcher equipped, you can choose between 4 different chemical charges. Alright, so they have 4 mods listed here, and so the first one is called the Firestarter. The description reads, the Firestarter canister sends out flammable and near-invisible gas. These clouds can be ignited with any spark, bullet impacts, enemies firing their weapons inside the cloud, explosions, or even enemies running into them while on fire. If you combine multiple clouds over a large area, you can create devastating chain reactions. Now, this is the skill that they showed off during the E3 demo, and I really think it's cool that you can lay the clouds over various areas and create a chain of stuff. I think it's cool that it's more of a creative skill, so that one should be really neat. This next one is really awesome, though. The mod name is Riot Foam. This skill fires a canister with Riot control foam that disperses on impact. This is the same Riot Foam as you have seen the True Sons use in the E3 demo. The foam is sticky, heavy, and it rapidly expands. Anyone affected by the foam is stuck in place for a period of time, but the hardened foam can be destroyed to break them free. I think it's really cool that we get to use this skill as we saw the enemies use it, and usually things that the enemies have, at least in Division 1, we don't get to use. So it's really neat that we'll get to do this. And I think it's cool that your teammates can break you out of it, so in PvP, if you get stuck, you're not instantly dead. You know your teammates can break you out, so that one should be really cool. The next mod is called the Oxidizer. The description reads, the Oxidizer fires a canister that emits a cloud of corrosive chemicals. The chemical cloud lingers for a long time and efficiently eats away at enemy armor or any enemy mechanical items. This one sounds interesting. It seems basically a lot like the Firestarter one, except you don't have to shoot it, so I wonder if it's going to be a little bit more of damage over time and not as much damage, whereas the Firestarter will be a bit of burst damage and more heavy since you have to actually shoot it once you put it down. But this one sounds neat. It sounds like it could be pretty cool. Alright, the last skill on the list here is the Reinforcer mod. So, the Reinforcer fires a projectile that detonates and disperses an armor repairing cloud. If this powder hits you or your teammates, it restores an amount of your armor. Powder that sticks on the ground grants armor restoration over time. You have the ability to heal your friends very fast, or even yourself, over time. So this one is interesting. I mean, they said at E3 that there was going to be a healing mod for this, so this wasn't unexpected, but the description is a bit confusing. It sounds like you can either shoot it on the ground and have it heal everyone over time, or you can shoot at a specific person. I think we're going to need to see like a visual demonstration of how it works to fully understand it, but this one sounds neat. Alright, so overall, I think the Chem Launcher is going to be a really awesome skill. I think it's probably, out of this list, still one of my favorite ones. I think that it's going to be, like I said, a bit more of a creative skill where you can really use your imagination to place the clouds where you want them and have it do the most devastating effect. So it should be fun to be able to do that. And I think my favorite mod is going to be the Riot Foam. I did not know that that was going to come with it, so it's a big surprise, and that should be really fun to mess around with. So yeah, that's the Chem Launcher. Alright, so the next skill on the list is drones. So, the description for the drones, the overview one, reads, when deployed, the drones hover around your shoulder and follow you around. Depending on what drone you equip, it can stay passively by your side until assigned an order, or it can automatically target your enemies and even friends in some cases. There are 5 different categories of the drone. Alright, so the first mod they have here is Striker. As suggested by the name, this is an offensive version of the drone. Built for combat, the Striker possesses a turret that can inflict continuous damage upon its target. This drone can receive remote orders from its controller to attack specific targets. So this is pretty cool. This is the mod that they had at the E3 demo. I'll be really interested to see how the ordering your drone around will work in the game. I don't know if it'll be holding right bumper when you're looking at an enemy. It should be interesting, especially for a controller, what that's going to look like and how easy it'll be to use. But if it's an efficient system, then this will be a really neat skill to use. So next up, we have the Defender mod. The Defender is a defensive drone that protects its owner by utilizing an experimental director emitter. It deflects incoming bullets within microwave bursts, creating an invisible barrier. However, each bullet deflected greatly drains the battery, and it is incapable of defending itself from enemy fire. It can, however, be ordered to guard your friends or other friendly skill items. So this one sounds really neat. I did not see something like this coming into the game, but being able to direct it to put a shield around either yourself or friends, and even their skill proxies, sounds really cool. So this one will be really neat to see in action. Alright, the next mod on the list is called Tactician. Built for intel, this utility drone flies to maximum elevation at a location of your choosing and spots all hostiles it can see, effectively highlighting their location. While deployed, it gives you and your party continuous information about the position of the enemies within your area. This is the specialist skill for the sharpshooter specialization. Alright, so this sounds interesting. It's basically just a pulse but with your turret. It's neat that it's the sharpshooter specialist skill, and I think that plays really well into the sniping aspect of the sharpshooter. Reading through this and some of the other specialist skills, I think that what the goal with specialist skills is to basically just be an ease of mind for when you're using these skills. So like, for example, say your pulse, if there is a pulse skill returning in Division 2, say you have to shoot the pulse in one area manually, and then it pulses the targets there, whereas this, you just press one button and it goes up to do it. So I really think the specialist skills are just going to be easier versions of other ones, and you'll see what I mean later when I go through what the Seeker Mine has and some of that. So yeah, that's the Tactician one. The next up is Bombardier. This drone can perform a bombing run across a long area. The drone flies to an area designated by the player and drops a barrage of explosions as it strafes from one end of the zone to the other. This one sounds interesting. Sounds like it could definitely be one of the strongest of the group. Again, similar to the Striker turret mod, or sorry, drone mod, it's going to be interesting to see how the player designates the area that this is going over. The amount of player choice in the skills is definitely really cool, but I just want to make sure that the devs can make it so it's not a super complicated system to tell your drone what to do. But like I said, if that system is efficient, then this should be another really cool mod for the drone. Alright, so the last skill we have for the drone, or the last mod rather, is called the Fixer. This defensive drone repairs armor over time. You can choose whether you want to fly next to you and passively repair your armor, or choose a friendly target whose armor needs repairing, including other damage skills. So yeah, this is another healing mod, which I really didn't anticipate the drone having. But yeah, it sounds really interesting, especially that it can heal your allies' skill proxies, similar to the Defender one where it can put a shield around them. So yeah, I think there's a lot more utility being added to these skills than I really anticipated that there would be. So that's really cool. So overall, the drone, like I just said, has way more utility than I thought it'd be. I thought it'd be mainly just attacking and defending, but it's got a whole lot of stuff in here with the Defender one and the Fixer, so that should be really neat. I think my favorite mod that I'm most excited to try is definitely the Defender, because shields are a whole new thing that we haven't had in Division before, and so I think that'll be really neat to try out and see it in action. Alright, next up we have the Hive skill. Now, the devs describe this as a group of advanced microdrones that deliver special effects to their targets. You either place or throw the Hive, which affects targets within its radius. While most Hive categories are primarily used for defensive measures, there are offensive alternatives to suit all playstyles. So, the first mod we have here is called the Stinger. Microdrones swarm hostile targets that enter their range, inflicting damage and targeting weak spots, destroying them efficiently. So yeah, this one sounds pretty cool. It's really cool that it can target enemy weak spots, since those will be a lot more important in the Division 2. So yeah, I think this one's going to be really important for team comps to have in order to take out those higher enemy targets. The next mod we have is called the Restorer. When the Restorer detects missing armor on a friendly agent in its range, it deploys micro repair drones towards the agent. On impact, an amount of armor is repaired. This one sounds pretty cool. It's another healing skill, which again, I really didn't think that the Hive or the drone, but especially, yeah, would have healing skills, but they do. So, it also sounds like you can kind of place it down and it'll just, over time, just spurt out microdrones that'll go and repair. So if it is kind of like a continuous heal thing, that would be really neat. If it can just be placed down and then for its duration, it goes and heals people when their armor gets low. That'd be really cool. This one sounds cool. The next mod is called the Booster. The Booster sends out one microdrone per friendly player that administers stimulants to increase combat efficiency, boosting weapon handling, movement, and other physical capabilities of the agent. This one sounds really neat. It sounds a lot like the booster shot from Division 1 that everyone knows and loves, so that's neat. It says boosting weapon handling. If that means weapon damage, I don't know. I don't know if that means stability and reload speed and that kind of stuff, and damage, or without damage, but If it does, this one should be really neat to use, and it should be a good one for you to bring to a team. The last one is called the Reviver. When deployed, the Reviver Hive can revive allies within a specific radius on the ground. If any of your downed allies are within range of your Reviver Hive, you can manually order a set of microdrones to revive them. However, you can also press and hold the button to charge up the microdrones. The longer you hold the button, the more health and armor your allies revive with. This one sounds really neat, that there's actually another reviving skill. We have the support station and the defib in Division 1, but this one also sounds really cool. I really like how you can hold the button, and that'll mean that your allies spawn with more health and armor. That's a really neat mechanic, so yeah, this one sounds really cool. Overall, again, really didn't expect the Hive to be a full utility skill, but I think that's really what they're going for in Division 2, is having not necessarily healing, damage, and tank skills, but, you know, kind of they all do everything, and that's really neat. I really think that's a good move. So, the Hive should be really fun to use. It has a lot more, even though they have a lot more utility now. I really thought there would be more offensive skills with this, but there's really only one, which is fine with me. That's fine, but yeah, this one should be really neat. Alright, the next skill we have is the Seeker Mine, which is a returning one from Division 1. The description reads, these spherical, self-propelled ordnance delivery devices are returning in the Division 2 with more features and abilities. These mines use sensors that allow them to target hostiles or friendlies as needed to perform various effects. You can activate Seeker Mines by dropping them on the ground or throwing them straight into the action. Each category offers something new to agents in the field. So, the first mod we have here is called Explosive. The classic Seeker Mine chases the target designated by the owner and detonates with a staggering explosion. However, it can be avoided as there's a slight aiming time before it explodes. So, this is basically just the base mod from Division 1, and it's interesting that it's coming back like that. I don't think it's super, I don't know, it just seems a little weird, especially since they specifically mentioned that you can avoid the explosion. It seems like, why would I use this when I can use a, you know, bombing drone that can target people? I don't know. Hopefully they make this good, and that one should turn out well if they can do that. The next mod is Airburst, which is also returning from Division 1. This mine rolls to your designated area and then launches an explosive burst into the air at head height of the enemy when reaching proximity. So yeah, also from Division 1, this one, don't know much to say on it, should be pretty good. If it's more of a crowd control thing more than trying to be damaged, which is what it was in, what was that, 1.6, that'd be really cool. So yeah, that one should be good. The next mod we have is called the Mender. Similar to the reinforced Chem Launcher, this friendly little Seeker Mine releases repair chemicals. These chemicals form a cloud that repairs your armor or that of an ally. If you have not chosen a specific target for the Mender Seeker Mine, allies that loses all their armor are automatically targeted by the mine. This is the specialist skill for the Survivalist specialization. So yeah, this one sounds cool. They did change, at E3 they said the specialist skill for the Survivalist was going to be the Chem Launcher, which I was excited for, but now this has been it. So going back to what I said earlier about how these specialist skills would kind of be easier skills, if that makes sense. This one is like, it does, they even mention it does the same thing as the Chem Launcher, the reinforced mod for the Chem Launcher. The difference is, with that one, anyone can use that one, and you have to, it takes more time to use, because you have to shoot it somewhere, and then it does its thing. Whereas this, you can just set it down, and then it'll do the healing thing. So I think the specialist skills will just be similar to other skills that everyone has, but they'll just be easier to use. So yeah, this one should be pretty cool. The Survivalist is what I'm going to go with, so we'll see if I end up using this or not. The last mod that we have is called the Cluster, which is also returning from Division 1. The cluster contains a number of smaller charges in one package, each capable of propelling itself. When deployed, each of these smaller mines picks a target and sets off towards it. However, these smaller mines are easier to avoid as they do not have room for the advanced tracking equipment and cannot adjust their destination if their target moves. So, this one seems interesting. It seems like, I don't know, the Seeker Mine has always been a little lacking in terms of utility and damage, so we'll see if Division 2 changes that. Maybe they'll do a lot more damage, but these cluster ones, I feel like in PvP, I don't know about PvE, but in PvP, if you know that someone is using the cluster one, and they set it down and it can't track you once you move, you can just set it down and then roll sideways into another piece of cover and you won't get hit at all. So, I hope that the devs make sure the Seeker Mine is good this time around and that it's actually worthwhile to use. But yeah, that's all I've got. Last but certainly not least, considering what some of these mods do, is the turret. So, the description reads, this compact, self-unfolding device tracks and shoots designated targets. The turret can be placed next to you with a quick press of the skill button, or thrown a short distance with a long press. Let's discuss the turret's variants. So, the first mod is called Assault. Similar to the Striker drone, this skill is designed with offensive players in mind. Equipped with a machine gun turret and a 360-degree rotational capability, this skill attacks the closest target while you are in combat. Outside combat, you can designate your turret's targets. So, this one sounds pretty good. It's similar to the Pulse turret in Division 1. A really cool thing that they slipped in at the end was that out of combat, when you put down your turret, it doesn't just automatically start shooting people and mess up your whole team. You can choose your turret's targets, and I'm assuming wait and tell it to shoot where and when. So, that's a really cool change. This one should be good. The next mod is the Incinerator. If you enjoy crowd control, this skill is for you. Equipped with an incendiary tank, this incinerator ignites fuel and fires it in a cone to deal area of effect damage. This turret can be toggled on and off when deployed. So yeah, making its return from Division 1, the fire turret. It sounds pretty much the same, except for that you can toggle on and off when it's deployed. So I don't know if that's something that is specific for this mod, or if that's something that the whole turret class will have. It only mentions it here, so maybe it's just you can shoot flames when and when you don't want to. I don't know why they would make that for this and not other ones, but yeah, overall this one should be cool, just the same as Division 1. Alright, next up we have the Artillery mod. The Artillery is a specialized deployable that launches exploding ordnances at locations of your choice. Firing once per press, shells are launched in an arc at a target position. This is the specialist skill for the Demolitionist. So this one sounds pretty cool. Again, I don't know exactly how it's going to work with how you can target it and press 1 to shoot it, so a visual representation of how this will work will be cool to see. But yeah, this is also the specialist skill, and like I said before, I could be going on a tangent here, but I really feel like you could use something like the Bombardier drone, which just does a bombing run across an area, or you could use this. It sets up right next to you, you press it, and it just shoots a basically a grenade launcher at them, similar to your specialist weapons. So yeah, it could be easier to use. I don't know if that's actually a thing or if I'm just completely making that whole tangent up, but yeah, that should be pretty cool. The last mod here, is, you're gonna freak out when you hear it. The mod name for a turret is called Sniper. The description reads, this long-range semi-automatic turret targets the same enemy you are engaging. While there's a slight delay on target acquisition, the sniper can adjust its aim to match your own aim on the target. This is very interesting. It sounds like it could be really cool if it's not overpowered. So what I'm understanding from reading it is that, say you're sniping one boss, maybe you're just sniping away at his chest plate to try and knock it off. The turret will wait a second, it'll match your firing pattern, and when you shoot, it'll also shoot the same target in the same spot. And if that's what it does, that would be really cool. In PvP, I hope it's not overpowered, but it could also be a really cool thing if your sniper just does almost one-shot someone, but it's not quite there. You have that turret next to you, and it shoots at the same time, it headshots someone, they're gonna go down. That could be really cool. If it's not annoying, this could be a really, really cool mod. Overall, the turret, pretty much what I expected. So glad that shock turrets are out of this. So glad about that. But yeah, pretty much the first two I expected. The last two are really cool, the bombing one and the sniper. So yeah, turret should be really cool in Division 2. Alright, well that's all of the skills. Like I said, this is a really awesome devlog, and honestly, this amount of information should be the dev's format for these blogs going forward. Quick disclaimer, in case anyone is worried, these aren't the only skills that'll be in Division 2. We know that the shield will be there, as well as others that haven't been revealed as of yet. Before I end this off, I just wanted to quickly go over my top 3 big takeaways from this. 1, there's a lot of healing. The changes to medkits really made me question how much healing would be available in Div 2, but this lays that to rest for sure. If all of these healing abilities can stack, then my god, people are going to be even more tanky than a 10k 6-piece Nomad who just got procced. We'll have to wait and see how the healing dynamic plays into Division 2. Second thing, more than 3 mods. I thought that they may stick to the Uniform 3 that Division 1 had, but no. I think this is a really awesome choice, and it's cool that some skills like the drone have more mods than others simply based on if it makes sense or not. Third, creativity. I'm really impressed and excited by some of these mods, specifically the Sniper Turret and the Defender Drone. As long as these things have counters and they aren't overpowered, good on the dev team for making some real innovations in what skills can do. I'm really excited to try these things out. Okay guys, that's all the devlog covered. Like I said, definitely the best one yet. If you have any questions, leave them down below, hit that like button, and subscribe if you're new. And until next time, RogueGold, out.